Okay, enough of that. Let's clear up my desktop. Good evening, afternoon. Where are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be. It's been a while since I've streamed, and I can see already that there's something broken. My chat window is broken. Let me just fix that for you guys. How do we do this? Please, YouTube, stop being so difficult. Right. This is so... It's even less professional of me than usual. And that takes some bloody doing. Did we all have a good Christmas? I hope you have. Costado, hello. Becky, Craig, Jonathan. All of you. All of you 6 people. But that's fine. I need the 6 best people because today I want to have a go at hacking Chucky Egg because I love Chucky Egg and I just thought it'd be cute to try to do some action replay style messing with it. And I don't know even where you'd start on a BBC. So I'm trying to pick that up right now. So I'm going to go low disk. We've got a nice pause function on chat now mods. What does that mean? So what can the mods do? You can just stop people talking.
I don't know.
Oh, Craig, is that you?
It's me. Yes.
Ooh, it's been a long time since I've heard your lovely voice.
Blackpool.
Blackpool. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm going to look at the AV meters. So say something and I'll see if you're coming through on the stream.
Okay. I can't hear myself in the stream at the minute. Oh, I'm not going to because I've muted it.
Yeah, you are. You are. I can see
twice.
it. Everybody can hear you. That's absolutely fine. It's working good. Costado says he may be one of the best, but he knows nothing about BBCs. Well, that's fine. None of us do, really. Well, apart from using them. We don't know how they actually work or read books on them because we're too young. First, I've got to figure out how we load Chucky Egg in. That's the main challenge. So I'm going to load disk.
Even when I was at Blackpool, I didn't touch a BBC. And I think the last time I touched it was in nursery in 1993 or something. We had one in our nursery room. Nursery. And I don't know what games we had on it.
So you're obviously a few years younger than me, I think. Because I think we were a little bit... We must have been around 8, I'm guessing.
So in 93, I'd have been about 4. But like I said, I loved playing it, but I don't know what I played on it. It would have been some like educational game, I would assume. But
Granny's Garden. That's a lot of people were playing
Probably.
Granny's Garden.
I
there.
googled that.
I recently wanted to play that, but it's got loads of copy protection. You have to do a lot of messing around to get it to work, and I think it's because it still exists.
Yeah. It's very likely when I say I used to play this, I probably was just button mashing at the menu and not doing anything in it at all because I was so young. So if there was copy protection on the game I played, I have no memory of it at all.
Right. Well, I've done my Star Cat and I finally got Chucky Egg. So yeah, I was working in the background, guys, trying to find it. That's what that was about. Let's embiggen this. Interestingly, Craig, you know what I did? I was so bored and I just needed to get out of the house. I haven't been out of the house for a few days and my family's away, so it's just been me.
All right.
Trying to do all those jobs. You know, when you go, I'm going to do all the jobs, you do maybe a third of them and go, oh, I can't be arsed now.
Yep.
So I just drove 30-mile round trip to buy Costa coffee. And I could have just driven the nearest town with a Costa coffee. It would be like a 10-mile round trip. But you know, you're just going, I'm out for a drive. Going to keep going. The engine's warm now.
Well, that's what I do. Since I bought that silly Subaru thing, it takes a long time for the engine to warm up. So when I just fancy like a £1 cheeseburger, I'll drive all the way to Sleaford to use the drive-through there. Because it uses about the same amount of fuel as just going to the one that's about 5 minutes away.
Well, you might as well exercise the turbo, warm it up and let it cool down again properly. Right, so let's see if there's any experts in the chat. I think everybody's declared themselves out of being an expert, but Jonathan sounds like he could be because he has 2 beebs in his dad's garage. So, I mean, that practically makes you a beeb master. I'm at the point here where I'm trying to figure out in an emulator how do I do control break, because I think before we start hacking Chucky Egg, we might have to have a quick game of it just to remind ourselves how it works. So I'm going to go for reset. Nope. I'm going to do star cat. I think, is it star boot? No, star exec. Oh, this is going to go mental, I think, if you do this. But let's check. So one command, there's star load and star exec. One of them loads it up as if it's a script that you're typing it in, and one loads it up as a binary. And if I get it wrong, there's going to be a lot of messing going on. Yeah, I think that was the wrong one. Control C? Nah. Let's just do reset. Right, star. So what was that one? That was star exit. We're going to go for star load. Run. Hey. Oh, chain exclamation boot. I'm going to write that down. I was thinking, you know, I could have done with that earlier as well on the real machine. Chain exclamation boot. It was like when I tried to get the BBC Tube version of Elite running. I had to change some code in that bootloader. Right. Chucky Egg. Now, Craig, you were a Chucky Egg player though, weren't you?
I've played it like once or twice.
All right.
I can't pretend that I know it particularly well.
The reason I'm asking is because some people are, you know, they're fans of getting the seeds, and others don't get the seeds. So I'm not sure about if you have a. It doesn't sound like you've got a tactic.
I find I play this sort of platform for about 5 minutes, then I just get insanely cross with it.
I find I can't stand the versions that don't have real physics. I think I'm looking at you, ZX Spectrum version. I think the CPC actually did. Was it the Commodore 64? There's two flavours of it basically, and I think as a modern gamer, you're used to certain things, aren't you? Being able to move when you jump.
Yeah.
And you just don't have that in some of these games. Interesting enough, I was watching something on Castlevania earlier, and there's a remake of Castlevania where they actually bring in actually a move in the air, so you don't get that knockback down a hole all the time. So I quite like that ease of use hack that they're starting to do. Why can't
it does make the games a lot more fun? Which is it. People were misreading that tweet this morning, weren't they, about the rewind features?
There was a lot about that.
Yeah, and it's like it's fine that it makes it fun and playable, but the guy's just saying you can't say you beat it. That's the thing with a lot of these old games. You saying about upgrading the physics a bit so you can move in the air. A lot of people just wouldn't bother playing the game at all if they thought, oh, it's too difficult.
I don't agree with the terminology. I agree with Mike Matai on that. I don't think, you know, don't say you beat it. It's like, you know, you know, it's exactly like, and people in the stream, you let me know what you think. I listen to stuff on Audible, right? I read books and I listen to stuff on Audible. But if I listen to a book on Audible that I've never read, right? I haven't turned the cover, looked at it in an ebook. I don't say I've read it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's something like, oh, I've read the latest Stephen Fry tome. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I listen to the complete works of Shakespeare, listen to them, and it's a different experience. I'm definitely not learned and better read for listening to it on Audible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not improved my grammar, it's not improved my spelling, it's not done anything in that way. I've enjoyed the content. And I think if you're using Rewind and you finish a game, great, you've experienced all the content. And that's all you've done. It's not to belittle anybody, it's just to have that right terminology.
No, I mean, the argument was that people were reading it and they were just, I hate the word triggered, but they were offended that someone was saying, but you've not completed the game as it was intended to have been played because you didn't get the rewind feature on Mario Brothers on the NES.
Well,
if you fell off, you fell off, and that was it. You had to start again.
People seem to take it though, Craig. I don't know. People seem to take it as if he was telling them how to play the game, which was totally.
They just misread it.
Yeah, he didn't say that at all. And there's a lot of things about gatekeeping, all this. And I said, what the fuck is gatekeep? Why do they keep inventing this new terminology to be enraged about shit? People should fucking get a life.
All he said in the tweet was retweet if you agree with this, and people are arguing, and it's like, well, just don't retweet it. It could have been a very interesting conversation otherwise, because I'm terrible at old games, but I like playing them. Like my first console was the SNES, and I never got to complete any of the games because we couldn't afford to buy many of them. We just used to rent the cartridges from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
So because we didn't have all the cheat codes necessarily, if they even existed, because we couldn't afford the magazine. Well, I say we couldn't afford them. My parents decided they couldn't afford the magazines and stuff. I never used to be able to see the later levels. So when I got my mini SNES, of course I was using the rewind feature to redo and jump that I kept doing wrong, because it means you get to see all of it.
Yeah. No, and it's a great. To be honest, it's a great way for, I think, an older gamer to play, like myself. You know why?
Yeah.
We don't have much time.
Yeah.
I just can't put in that much time, and I really want to say get through Mega Man and experience, say, all the bosses or something. And it's like, I can just do save states and feel good that I've seen everything and gone great. And I'll do that over and over again. I'll keep playing the same old games over and over again. And I think, you know how I liken that too? I liken it to, I like all the Ian M. Banks sci-fi books, Larry Niven, all of that. I'm over the moon when I find them on Audible, because I consume the content again in a new way. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool.
Because you can do it whilst you're doing something else in that instance.
Yeah,
or you're driving, or if you're just doing housework, you just put on a pair of headphones or whatever.
I love it. So let's have a look what people think on this. Oh my gosh, there's so much gone on. Sorry guys, I've not been paying attention to the chat. So Castardo's saying, you've listened to an audio book. Again, you've not read it, you've listened to it. Kevin says to Becky, my mother regularly asks me to trim her bush. She knows not what she is saying.
Gosh.
And Castardo says, reading a book implies you paid attention from the start to the end. And I totally agree on that. You know, it's important, right? The consuming things the way they're intended important, because also you feel good about it too, don't you? When you it's like Portal.
It's a completely different feeling.
The Portal games I absolutely adore, and they're the only games that I've actually really played fully to completion. And on each one, I've played it in one sitting. Like literally, the first time I got Portal, I played it till I finished it, and the same with Portal 2. And I've got amazing memories, and I feel like at the end, you know, I don't know if you finished Portal, it has some amazing music, and there's a story that's running through it.
Rather stupidly, I've not played the first one, but I bought Portal 2 a couple of years ago on Steam.
Yeah.
And I played that all the way through. But with that, because, again, I play a lot of games, but I'm not a gamer. I'm not very good at them. So there's about 3 or 4 levels of Portal 2 that I got stuck on. So I thought, right, I'll find a Let's Play video, and I'll see. And what I'd do is I'd stop when it gets to where, like, the next bit of the puzzle would be solved, when I tried from there. But I still didn't say, I've beaten this. But I played that all the way through in like 1 or 2 days. It was awesome. I
think that they're the only games that when I got through them, that I felt, you know, a bit emotional at the end. You know, it got me in the feels. Because I don't know, it's just weird. I don't know if anyone in the chat, have you played Portal and completed it? Did you feel anything when you completed it, or was it just another game to you? You slags, you video game slags. You use them up. I don't care. I'm going to see if I can get this last egg. I remember there's a trick with this. No! All right. I'm going to have to work out how to peek and poke this. But Becky, I think I need that last egg. I don't want to. I've got to just get the last egg first. Jonathan loved the ending. What do you think, Jonathan? Was it an ending worth waiting for? Would you have felt a bit of a, you know, if you kind of jumped several levels with a hack code or something, how would you have felt? Castardo, you don't remember the feeling. That's because you're an 8-bit monster. Right, let's see if this Beeb M gives us any kind of pokey tools. You know what, Jonathan? I want to get back to Ocarina of Time, and I've got it on like every single format you could get it on, right? Because I think they remade it for the Wii or the GameCube and the DS, and it's like I need to devote. You know, like you got to focus on some of those games, because if I put it down and walk away, it's game over. I can't get back to it. I have to start again. And my kids are absolutely livid at me because they love Breath of the Wild, and I think a lot of us do, right? Breath of the Wild is pretty much the best Zelda game ever. And I erased my entire character, which I think I'd done a few of the Guardians, and I was nearly there. and they just couldn't understand it because they've got all the master sword and killed it all and built a house and all that. And I was just like, yeah, because I just can't pick it up. Can't remember what I was doing. Probably because it was already spoiled. Oh, Custado. Custado, I'm going to hopefully spoil Chucky Egg for you, but I don't think there's an ending. I think it just goes on forever if I can figure out how we do this. So I'm going to save the state because I think that's a good thing to do. And they've got grannies. Oh, we got a granny state. Hang on. Chucky Egg. Just before, I just want to check if I've actually got a granny's garden state. I can see there. Oh, I've got granny's garden going.
Wow, from 2017.
That's something I think I'm going to have to play later. What, that was the state date, was it?
Yeah, it said 2017. That reminds me of a few years ago, my brother found some of our gaming stuff. I found a PlayStation memory card, which I'd not touched since like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I played Gran Turismo to death back then, and all of my garage was there, and it took me right back to being a kid. It was like a time warp.
You know, I found a PlayStation that I think my brother might have given me. One of those ones where you've chipped it and you have all of those discs. You know, like the discs in those sleeves. Just all the...
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And it looks so crusty. I didn't plug it in because I think it might blow up. But I've got to do something with that. But I can't remember the old PlayStations. They had the dodgy power supplies or something.
None of my stuff failed. But the thing is, I was as anal with AV gear back then as I am now. So it got mothered and it wasn't suffocated in a stand or anything.
Oh no, that's what it is.
It might be that, but I'm not too sure.
I have to admit, none of my original computers or consoles have ever failed. So it really goes down to how you look after them. Whereas I've bought plenty of, like, if I buy an old, like that Dreamcast I bought or Wii U or something, but when you look at them, they're dirty. Do you know what I mean? They're full of dust and crap. It's like kids' ones.
It's as though they've lived their life on top of a cooker hood, and they're just covered in like that sticky dust. You know, you get from if you fry a lot of food, like my parents used to, and you got that like gunge stuff. I don't know how people manage it, because it's like presumably you didn't play your Nintendo Wii in the kitchen. But it's just gross.
It's kids. It's kids because any machine that I say that's my machine, you're not allowed on it, and that started at like the Wii U and all of that. They and then eventually they get on it, and it's just gross. And then I lose interest in it because it's so grubby. I don't want to touch it. So I think I've managed to acquire like loads of Xboxes for whatever reason. You always find an Xbox 360, so I find they're quite good. So at least you can give them their own one. Right, come on, guys. Anyone in the chat know how to start this hacking? I mean, I suppose I could probably just look on the internet because there's probably some guides on it. Let's get an internet window up. Let's pretend I'm going to say let's pretend we're doing it together. Well, we are. So here we go.
Just remember, you can't say that you've beaten this if you're using a cheat code.
I can say what I like. Yeah. I'm going to define my own terminology and say that's correct. Let's not get into that. It borders on politics, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, but everything is treated like politics when it comes to that.
I'm going to be so frigging enraged about it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's what people have said forever. That's what the word means. No, it doesn't mean that. It means whatever I want it to be, and that's how life is.
Yeah.
Have you? I find it amazing because I do a lot of travelling, right? You know that I go all around the world with work, and I just see people getting on with serious shit, doing proper work and proper achievements. And I think, God, I'm really scared if people are coming out, people from this country, and we're going like, no, I want a massive salary. I want to be a YouTube sensation and an Instagram star. It's like, okay, now you probably got to learn how to do something first, right?
Yeah. But it's like when people were doing those reaction videos. I don't know if you ever saw any of those, but they would watch a video, like say a Retro Man Cave video or one of yours, but they'd superimpose their webcam feed of them going, oh, that was funny. and posting the entire video as a reaction. And when they got banned, people were like, "Oh, my content's being ruined." If you've not made anything, you've just recorded a commentary. That was a big thing a few years ago. It was like a viral thing. People would just make a whole reaction YouTube channel. It was garbage. Someone made a living off of it for a while, anyway.
Oh, I think it's all transient, isn't it? This stuff. I think people. I think we get a little bit more mature. Some of us, a bit older now, a few years, and you just see. I don't know. You hopefully get a bit more wisdom, and you don't react to so many things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just roll my eyes and don't respond to the majority of things. It's just easier.
Look at this thing. This is like some serious hacking stuff here. There's a lot of Chucky Egg. These are like reworks. Chucky Egg XT. Chucky Egg Invulnerability.
There must be. All right, yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to concentrate on something on my phone, which has nothing to do with this.
This is a simple modification of the 32k Chucky Egg release with the infinite lives and invulnerability to hen's poke built in. So there are pokes. So Becky's given us a speed up, right? So okay, Becky, let's try this. So people are loading the let's reset, right? So okay, Becky, let's start with this. So you say before loading. I feel, do you not load it first and then you don't run it? So what did we do before? I think we did star load, Chucky. Then I feel we have to do your pokage. Do FE. I was hoping though this Beeb M had a memory. Oh god, we've got to turn that sound off. Let's turn the sound off for now. Some sort of memory analyzer in here. It might have it, but I just haven't really looked hard enough for it. Let's try that, Becky. See what happens. So when you do question mark ampersand FE47, I guess you're just basically pushing the value 10 into that memory address. Is that a decimal 10 or a hex 10? Be useful to know. I'm going to change the keys again. There's something weird going on. There's a massive lag on my emulator. So I'm guessing my PC doesn't have the power to run a BBC Micro, which is fair enough. Okay, Becky. You should have gone, well, you should look it up, Andrew. I might be the BBC master, but you've really got to educate yourself on these things.
Haven't you heard of Google?
Yeah. Is this faster? It feels fast, but I've got to turn the sound on again because I'll know if it's faster from the sound. Yeah, definitely. Look, see, it's not going up bloody ladders, though. It wasn't doing this last time as well. I think maybe my oh, there you go. Why? There's something wrong with the keyboard interrupts or something.
That's very strange.
It's funny how the sound is balked as well. Totally. I wonder how fast we can make it though using that same trick. Let's see if we can. Let's try that again. Okay then, Becky, I feel we're on a roll now. So we're going to do star load. Going to go dem FE47. So we did 10 before, so I think we're going to do 40 because that's going to be 4 times even better. Oh, again, let's turn that sound off. That's horrible. I'm not sure why it was so loud and so aggressive, that opening thing where it goes. Probably just to alert you to stop the tape. Oh, Craig, you just remind me of something. Well, I kind of just reminded myself of it and then you chuckled, which reinforced the remindment.
Right.
I went through and I found so many tape games for the Spectrum and Amstrad CPC.
Mm.
And I keep going, oh yeah, I'm going to... Oh, by the way, did you see that? I just pushed up and it did shift as well at the same time. Weird. And I found all these games and I really, really want to try them. But I just can't. Yeah, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that with tape games. It's just doesn't.
Oh, I would. It's why I've not bothered buying a BBC Micro or anything else which uses tape, because although I've obviously like played with them at school and stuff like that, I am too lazy for it. And I thought, well, if I'm going to bypass the tape stuff, I may as well just use an emulator on the PC and play them a bit more easily, because I've only got so much space for real hardware anyway.
Well, exactly. I think I'm always in favour of. I don't really care about original media on any system at all. So, I've got quite large collections of Mega Drive and SNES games and things. But I still, on the Mega Drive, for example, I bought this 126-in-1 cart.
Oh yeah,
and it's brilliant.
So
it's
not an EverDrive thing, but it's got all of them on the
exactly.
Chip itself.
And most games didn't have battery backup, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I just used that. And I have all those same games again on that. Remember when you got the Xbox, it had a Mega Drive game disc that you could get for that, which had quite nice menus. So I think I'd rather play them on those than just swapping in the cartridges. It doesn't really add anything, does it?
It's a lot more convenient.
Oh, and the SNES Mini. It's marvellous, the SNES Mini. I find that one's just a really nice package.
I put some PlayStation games on my SNES Mini. Well, like one or two, like the games that I actually play. That's another thing I don't like, is loading up storage with hundreds of games and then play like two. I just don't see the point.
I think that's the problem as well. If you put too many on, you just don't. You seem not to play any because it's almost too much.
Yeah, I struggle to decide what to play.
So you get stressed and you go, "I'm not playing anything." So
exactly.
So I'm quite happy to like just have on there. Let's say it's the SNES one. I'll put on F-Zero, Castlevania, Super Mario World, Probotector.
Yep.
I'm really grasping now. Maybe Ghouls and Ghosts. Apparently, though, there's a Ghouls and Ghosts remake for the SNES. Someone's hacked the original code to have it. Oh, you'll love this. If you have Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES, there's a bit of slowdown, and the same with Gradius. Someone has rewritten some of it, so they use the Super FX type chip. You know, the chip that was in Mario, the SF3 or whatever chip. So those games run without any slowdown now. So it makes the Ghosts and Goblins on SNES like the definitive perfect version. It was like the best version ever made because it doesn't have the slowdown but has all the great graphics and stuff.
I'll have to find that. That would be quite cool.
Oh, Jonathan's given us all the hacks now. Thanks, Jonathan. Let's plug this in. Let's see what happens. I feel really pants, guys, that I'm not really showing you any. Oh, hang on, there is a debugger. Okay, I'm just talking rubbish. Just didn't look hard enough. Jonathan, let's try your hack. We'll punch that in first. Oh no, it's not letting me paste. Yeah, the SNES Gradius slowdown, Custode. Do you remember it in the bubble level? That was terrible. Oh, bad address. Jonathan, it says bad address, but that could just be because we've got CH. I don't know. It does say there is a CH-egg. I guess if I load Chucky, it probably loads that stupid menu. So I should be just trying the. Let's just try that again. Load CH, and I don't. Do you need the quotes? Let's restart this. Reset. Right, StarCat. Okay. So, Jonathan, you're saying new lines between the lad and the. Which bit? Okay, so I see what you mean. So we do the first bit, which is the star load. Is that right? Mensky, that's a really good idea. I think Jet Set Willy needs a real Willy. This is something weird with this thing. Let's do. I don't think it's just working at a fundamental level here. What's this not found business? Are you sure I don't need to just do Chucky because it hates CH-egg, which clearly is there. Okay, let's do star load How about taking Colossal Cave Adventure and just making it filthy? I think that might work. Visit up a bit. Right, I don't know, Jonathan, what's happening with that. So I'm going to have a quick look on this thing to see what this bloody thing does. Okay, if anything. So you can trace the tube, the system, the serial. I don't know. Let's just put it on everything. See, make it do something. Do something. Oh, hello. It's done something. It's doing too much probably. Right. That clearly is doing something when we're doing that. Right. Good. So let's do the system via. So, Mr. PGT, I keep using the minus sign. Are you oh, hang on, you're right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, let's turn this off. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like a dash, but it's a different dash. It's that one. There's a long one. There's a long one.
Becky's just mentioned something in the chat that I think I recognise. Is that like a parallel port thing? Is that just an app?
A cheat engine. The cheat engine. Okay, Mr. PGT, you got it. You got it. Oh yeah, so that you're right. There's definitely something. I'm going to bring up Notepad. Old school. Who still uses Notepad? I use it all the time. I use Notepad and Paint all the time.
I do.
Whenever I have to demo something or explain something in a Skype call or whatever, Notepad. Right, so the problem we have is that long... it might be an underscore. Let's see if it's an underscore in BBC land. It is. So the underscore actually is a long hyphen, strangely enough. Okay. So that's the string. I've just pasted it there so we can start trying to do it incrementally. 29F2 equals ampersand 3A. Let's just do a little bit at a time, see what works. See, that hates it. It hates it so much. Notepad++. That's almost like a better Notepad. Winsome Hacks, good afternoon. I'm joining everybody else escaping their family on YouTube over Christmas. Well, I'm on my own right now, so
That's the same for me. It's just me and the doggy.
Yeah, I'm kind of I kind of feel lonely now. I've got that whole. Yeah. I thought it would be a good idea, but now I'm bored and lonely.
Last year you went abroad. You went to, was it Spain? You went to for a couple of weeks.
Oh yes, I did. Yes, that was good. Always something to do.
How long have you got before the family return?
Judging by my timing, I would say about 2.5 hours. So that's.
Oh right, okay.
So
I wondered if you meant away for a few days or so. Obviously missed that bit.
No, I've been on my ownish since Friday morning. So I went running with my sister on Friday morning, and after that, it's like I was a bit poorly.
I always look forward to Home Alone time, and after about 5 hours of just doing something stupid on the AV gear in the lounge, I'm just bored. I just run out of things to do, and there's plenty of things to do. I don't want to do any of them, and I'm like, I need to get Leanne to come back home.
The problem is, and I think anybody in the stream can comment on this, as you get a bit older, I think you realise more things are inconsequential. In that whether you do something or not, most things, whether you do them or not, really don't make any difference to life.
Yep.
So you just don't bother.
Yeah.
It could be like paying that gas bill or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You just leave it right to the last second and go, right, I'll just do it, begrudgingly. Whereas when I was young, I was always on top of everything. I was well prepared and I'd do everything in advance.
Yeah, right. We're at that stage at the moment, me and Leanne, where we're on top of everything. But that'll break down in about 5 years' time. Just be like,
5 years? Only 5 years?
Yeah. I've actually set a reminder in my calendar for that day.
Right, so we've got all the pokes and peeks in now, guys. This is the ultimate poked Chucky Egg. Let's see how it goes. Come on, come on. Whoa, look at that. Oh my word. Hyper Egg. It's like a... Oh, no. No, 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 no. What? Oh, I'm invulnerable.
Whoa.
This is like...
I've only just started to see the difference it's made.
It's
That's
like
rapid.
speed running.
I quite like the speedrunning videos where someone like completes the whole of Rayman on the PlayStation in about 10 minutes.
I'm loving this, actually. I'm just gonna keep going now. Let's see. Just to see what... I don't know what all those pokes did, guys, so... Okay, you do die if you drop down a hole. No peaks, just pokes. All the pokes all the time. Well, that's the difference between those game genies and stuff, because they would constantly rewrite certain memory addresses. Oh, my word. Yeah, Becky, you can still die falling off screen, so you've got to watch the elevators. Peaks, pokes, and pukes. This is a good one, though. It would be nice to understand, though, what the actual pokes do, but again, we're going to need to understand how the BeebM debugger works and if there's actually a better debugging tool. Look at that. So, Craig, did you ever play the XCOM series on PC or, I guess, Amiga? The UFO?
No, the gaming experience I had was the SNES, then the PlayStation, and then after that we got a PC, which I didn't buy any software for, beyond like a couple like weird shareware CDs that had like really rubbish DOS pool games on and stuff like that.
So just to give you... oh no. That was probably one of the games I probably put the most time in the 90s, you know, apart from Worms or something. And I really love it. I love it so much. And if you go on Steam, you can get like the entire XCOM collection. I know you can probably get it from an abandonware site, but you can actually have it done legitimately on Steam, and it runs in DOSBox all configured up for you.
Right, yeah.
For like £2.50 for like, I don't know, 5 games or 7 games or something. And the problem I've got is I can't play it. It's weird. It's like the graphics or whatever, it's just that little bit blocky and dated that I just can't play it anymore. And I'm really worried because I've got massive collections of games on Steam and Xbox 360 that I've never played. And I'm worried that when I get round to playing like God of War or something, I'm going to go, oh, these graphics are crap, and just can't get into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody or yourself, if you have, if you have that that worry.
I don't tend to, because my preference with I'm a bit of a snob with graphics in that I want it to look sharp. I'm not bothered about it being blocky, but I hate it when it looks blurred.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't remember the actual term, like what the N64 does, which makes everything just look soft.
Yes.
Because I built a couple retro PCs last year with 3DFX Voodoo 2 cards in, and I plug an LCD monitor into those so they can look a bit blocky, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't stop me playing them. What does stop me playing the games on it is them just not working because it's an old PC from the 90s. But that's a different rant altogether.
Well, I've just started buying on... I've just bought from Japanese eBay. Someone recommended to me a Yahoo Auctions.
Yeah.
And I bought a whole load of tat, which I think includes like 5 broken N64s from Japan, which I don't know if it's the same, they'll work or not. And I do have, I think, a GoldenEye cart I found.
Right.
So that's going to start my whole N64 collection. So I'm sure when I fire that up, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yes, lots of people say that it is disappointing because a lot of my friends that are into gaming have lovely memories of playing GoldenEye with 3 other friends on like a 20-inch CRT telly. And obviously, you plug that into a high-def TV and it looks soft as hell. And everybody's like, oh, we can't play this anymore.
I'm a bit
It's just
worried
the
though.
nostalgia.
Well, have you ever? I want to play like Time Splitters. Did you ever play that back in Dear?
That rings a bell, but I don't think I did.
So it was by the same people, I think, that did GoldenEye, but it was like more
Right.
GameCube era, maybe
It's
PlayStation.
PlayStation 2 game. Oh, it was on the PlayStation 2. It was a cover that just showed up on Google. That looks quite cool.
So
There's a Time Splitters HD collection as well. Oh no, it's a
Ooh.
petition to get one.
Becky, I tell you what, just keep an eye, nag me on Discord. I'm going to have a clear out. I think I've got like 1 million Wiis. I have so many Wiis, it's unbelievable. I've got more Wiis than a urinary clinic. It's insane. So yeah, let me have a look. I might have a Wii you can have. I'll send you my most destroyed one. How about that? That'll give you the most fun, because there'll be more things wrong with it. So Mensky's saying post-processing on the N64 is awful, but there's some RGB mods that will get rid of it.
There's an HDMI kit you can get as well. I don't think it's so that Kevtris made, because Kevtris is who did the really cool HDMI kit for the NES.
Yeah.
It's FPGA based, but there's something similar which turns off all of the blurring and stuff. Anti-aliasing, that's what I was looking for. And apparently it looks quite good, but I've not seen one with the mod, because my brother gave me an N64 a couple of weeks ago and a big sack of stuff from where he's moved. But there's no accessories with it, and I thought, I know that I'll plug this in, because all he's given me is the RF adapter.
The RF adapter, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I can't even find tellies that'll tune in on that, even though they should, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because I think, even though we've got tellies that have got digital tuners, I think they were still at the point where nobody was playing RF-based games.
Yeah, I mean, my Sony one in the lounge, I've tuned that into a Master System RF output. Obviously, it looked rubbish, but it worked. That's why I keep meaning to do an RGB mod, so I can use it with my PVM, but I just keep putting it off.
Nice.
It's like a really simple mod on that as well. It's like 3 resistors and a DIN socket, so there's nothing to it, and I still haven't done it.
I've got some parts just sitting on the bench where I've trying to make a Mega Drive to HDMI converter.
Yep.
So I've got all the bits basically, and I've got to solder in a sync splitter. That's my last little thing, and because I haven't made a PCB for it, there's a point where I just can't be asked anymore.
Yep.
It's like there's a pile of wires, and I'll just go, nah, and I'll literally just pick them up, chuck them all in the bin, and go, there you go, I can't be asked. And it's, I find I'm talking to a lot of people on the Discord, I think, who are similar. We're all good at starting projects, but at the end of the day, we can't be bothered because you just go.
Well, it's like I'll do like a bomb list for a really simple mod, and I'll go to do it and find that I'm missing one of the capacitors. And instead of just ordering it and finishing it the next weekend, I'll just leave it. And as you say, it all gets picked up and tidied in a way which means I'll never find it again.
Yeah, and you just think life's just not worth it. Time's not. It's not worth it for the time I've got to invest. There's no return on it. I tried putting together a kit for the Atari ST, and it turned out there was problems of it. So I pulled that, and it works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody else. And it just I've got so much kind of emails and questions and hassle. I just go, fuck it, I can't be bothered. It's like you don't really make anything doing this stuff. It's just I like to support the community, but up to a point where it's actually can't be asked anymore.
Yep. Well, there's a little bit of uproar about somebody who he was developing. I think it was funded by a Kickstarter. And he posted a tweet just saying, "Oh, I've decided to can this," but he said that he wasn't going to delete any of the research or notes that he'd made, so someone else could carry on with it.
Yeah.
And people were disgusted, and I was explaining to them it'll be because he's done one of the modifications himself, and it would have gone well, and it was fun. So he thought, "Oh, I'll do some more of these." Then it became popular, and he realised, "Oh, this is now like work which I'm not being paid for."
Yeah.
And it's not the same when it's like that. It's not the same as doing like one modification yourself and actually getting some pleasure out of it. When you have to then support people and.
I was speaking to other people in the community who make bits and pieces like myself, and it's always the same. We get this sort of, you get this hassle as well where people going, send me the PCB, the Gerbers and that, and you're like, well, why should I? They're like, well, you should. And it's like, well, why the fuck should I? You didn't develop it. Why should I give it open source it? You see what I mean? I know what you're going to do. You're just going to make a bunch in China and make some money off it.
Exactly. Or try to.
Or try to. And like, yeah, if you want to be a distributor, be my guest. You know, talk to me about it. Or you want give me some royalties for a design, go ahead. But yeah, everybody just expects that you'll give them stuff for free.
They do. Because I make my own RCA phono leads for the stereo because I like making cables, and one of my friends heard me saying, oh yeah, I buy the leads and the nutrient connectors and make them up myself, because it's one of those things that making up a very basic cable I find quite therapeutic because I enjoy soldering. And he said, oh, can you make me a couple? And I thought he meant literally 1 or 2 leads.
Yeah.
You know, 1 pair. And he emailed me a list of lengths and like multi-channel or whatever. I said, no, I'm not going to spend the whole week making you some cables for the cost of the materials. And he was really offended by it. And I thought, no.
What I don't understand is there is, and I do respect. There's a lot of people who do a lot for the community circuit-wise and have really good shops selling loads of good aftermarket mods. And I can only think it's a labour of love for the price they're doing stuff at. It's just insane. It'll be like an Atari ST 4 megabyte RAM upgrade for a £5, and you're like, and what I do say to people if they moan about the price, to me it's like, well, you know, buy it from them. It's an economy at the end of the day. You can choose. I don't know. I know how I support my stuff. I don't know what support you get from other stuff if you buy it off Alibaba or whatever. But it's up to you.
Yeah.
But don't expect somebody to just say, "All right, here, you can have it for half the price." Because I don't give a darn about it. I'm not going to do that. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. I can't be asked.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not cutting you a deal so I can make 10p.
No, exactly. If you offer to do somebody a favour, that's totally different. But a lot of people misconstrue it.
Look at Mr. PGT. For free. Yeah. Give it to me for free. I will. You know what? For you, I would give it for free. I'm happy to. I'm happy to. And I'll tell you what I'll do. Give me. I'm going to send me a DM. I'll sell you all of the stocks of the existing ones, plus the designs, plus the Gerbers and everything for a very reasonable amount. You can have that. Take that over. You know, that's a quite good idea, isn't it? Just letting somebody curate a project and actually be able to make money off it. That makes sense too, doesn't it? If you can't be asked to make it anymore, but you, all right, yeah, all right, I'll sell the entire project. The weird thing is, I'm also happy to back projects. I would pay, I don't know, let's say we're trying to do the HDMI for something, an Amiga HDMI board, and it's like, okay, let's say I reckon I could break even on it, and it's going to cost $3,000 or something, yeah? But okay, I'll give you $3,000 to design this. All right, there must be people out there who do, okay, I'll do it for that. But you know, I want a fully working system. I want the Gerbers, schematics, bill of materials. I want the supplies for the parts. I want you to ensure that all the parts are designed in that are sourceable for the not old crap that you've pulled out of the Commodore 64 that you've got to rip apart to get this thing working. Yeah, it needs a SID chip. But yeah, I'm in the market for that. So if you know anybody who actually wants to do that, they tell them to come at me. I'll do it as a business.
Winsome hacks. I'm slightly stunned that anyone finds soldering relaxing. I really do. I love soldering things. I don't know why.
What, even surface mount?
As long as I've got all of the bits, like the tweezers and like the really fine pointy ones which don't just crumble and stuff like that, I love it. But then it's rare that I'm trying to fix something. So when I do, it's a novelty. If I had to work with it, I'd probably hate it. But yeah, I genuinely enjoy soldering stuff.
I think it's like driving. You know, like people go, oh, I love driving. You know, and they learn to drive. They're driving everywhere. For me, soldering's like that. It's like, now I've done too much of it in anger.
Yes.
for it to be fun. And every now and then I will do. There's quite a lot of stuff I do that I don't video, believe it or not, on kits and whatnot. And I go, this is just for me, where it doesn't feel like work. And it's like some crude old through-hole valve amp or something.
Yes, stuff like that is very therapeutic because it is so easy.
But making like 200 surface mount PCBs that you're going to make 50p on, it's like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh yeah, but you see, I'd never agree to doing that anyway, unless I was being paid very well for it. And then I'd probably vow to never do it again anyway. Becky said about desoldering, because I bought one of those vacuum desolderers for something I was doing, and it was good. But I actually really enjoy fluxing the braid and then desoldering that way because it looks clean afterwards.
I'm not
relaxation technique.
I'm not a big fan of those vacuum solderers. I find them more stressful. I like the old, you know, one where you push the end.
Yeah. There's a real knack to how to get the best out of a vacuum desolderer, because I once used it to undo one capacitor and it blocked because I didn't press the button long enough. So the solder went inside and blocked it. So
I find you've got to do a lot of extra solder on them. You know, I've got to put down, I've got to re-wet the joint, got to do all that. And you think, well, by the time I've done all that, I could have just...
You could have just used flux and braid, which is what I prefer to do. Because I've broken stuff with the desoldering things that you've said about, because I've not held it properly and it's flown the board across the desk. Through being an amateur, but...
I tell you what, when I was doing that quad HIFI...
Yeah.
I was having kittens. Fortunately, it's pretty robust because it's a very simple PCB. Yeah. But if you're doing something like a ZX Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the PCBs on that are so nasty that they start bubbling and popping and fizzing, and before the solder even melts, and you're like, I don't know how they bloody assembled them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's the sort of work where I would just say I'm not doing this anymore. Whereas all the stuff I work with is all the old hi-fi stuff, which was made quite nicely. So beyond just using the wrong technique or the wrong temperature, it would be difficult to break one of those or have something bubble or lift.
I'm just reading the comments again. Costado says he's curious about the first HDMI converter running off a SID chip. I think that would be an amazing feat there. Mr. PGT said he used to mod a few systems. But, they're trying to get a free guarantee. And also, though, Mr. PGT, what happens if you mod someone's system and you break it? You really, you know, I'm like, I want to step up. I don't want to take that responsibility. It's not worth it. Becky, so you've made a heated manual desolderer. They're really good. The ones where you've got the solder pump, the manual solder pump, but it's a normal plug-in, like soldering iron tip with a hole down the middle. Those look really good. So you're going to add that.
I nearly bought one of those.
I think they're really good value. They're like £7 or something on eBay. So Becky's going to automate that with the blood pressure monitor pump. That's quite a good idea. That might work. Kevin, I agree with you. I was trying to do a keyboard hack on a BBC Electron today, and I may or may not publish that video, and it had a particular component in there, like as if it was designed to burn your hand. No matter what you do, you're burning yourself, no matter how you hold it, how you whatever. I've just noticed something. I died before in this game. Like I ran out of lives, so I'm not really sure how many lives you got on this. Level 15 now. I think someone said it's 35 levels and it flips around. You'll see. Oh yeah, so Medsky, you know that. And apologies for calling you by your avatar name, because I don't know your real name. I think that those boards look like that because it was a way that they applied the solder resist. I think they do already look like scrunched up tin foil before you start, because that's just the way they did it. Because I've seen that in the Texas Instruments TI-99, which would have been a proper expensive computer back in the day. Here's a weird one for you, Craig. TI-99. I'd never heard of it really till I started doing these things. For fuck's sake, sorry, I'm just dying at Chucky Egg. It's not you, Craig. And the TI-99, it was actually quite similarly priced to the VIC-20. It was that era. But it's a proper 16-bit machine, believe it or not. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Because we think
it's
of all
one
this...
of those that I've not really seen much content about.
Yeah. When you see the chipset, because I've had to go through every single system on it, trying to get one working, and it's still not working.
Right.
But it's a whole proper chipset that TI did. It's got like a memory management unit, graphics unit, sound unit, main CPU.
Yeah.
It's decent, but I'm guessing it didn't catch on because we never saw more TI-based systems. But they would have been very much like the MSX, basically. Their version of the MSX platform.
I know it's a very cool looking bit of kit, and there is an add-on thing that looked a bit like a base unit, which had a disk drive in there and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's got loads of stuff on it, like speech modules and stuff as well. Yeah.
Because there was a big add-on thing, which prompted me when you bought my friend's TRS-80. Was it the TRS-80?
Yeah, TRS-80.
Yeah, there was I remember you asking if there was an add-on unit because there was a big like ribbon cable sticking out the back, and we've looked in his loft a couple of times since then, and there's just nothing left of it. But I was hoping that would be something we'd uncover because that had disk drives in it, I believe.
Yeah, it looked like it might have had it at one point because I think you said it was from his old man, but maybe like given it someone to fix or whatever.
He could have done, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Alan, because of how that connector was quite short, he probably did have an expansion unit. It might just be that broke, and that was when he upgraded to a PC or something. I'd love to be able to ask him about it. Obviously, that's by and by now. But
I really love. I tell you what, I really love. I like talking to my dad about the olden days because he worked for ICL. Did all they were all doing real computing back in the day.
Yeah.
And they kind of laughed a little bit at micros because they were such a sort of step back in a way.
Yeah.
I think
I can imagine that for definite.
Because people don't really appreciate this. That I think computing, as we kind of know it, industrial computing must have been around since the 40s or something.
Yeah.
So we think it all started in 1978 with the Apple II, the TRS-80, and the Commodore PET. But those proper business machines had everything: hard disks, backup, tape backup, blah blah, monitors, everything, and it was all configurable buses. So it took quite a long time to go from microcomputers to PCs, if you think about it, didn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, it will do. I mean, the thing is, if you compare the cost of a home micro with the business machines, I'm sure you're talking like a few £100 versus multiple thousands.
Well, it would have been tens or hundreds of thousands of pounds, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So they'd be hugely scaled back. So they were effectively a toy compared with what was possible. But
hey Daytona FPV, I don't think any of us ever got this far in Chucky Egg without, should we say, modifications to the code. But we're trying to beat it today.
Yeah. Inverted
commas.
Yeah, just don't say on Twitter that you beat Chucky Egg because you'll end up getting absolutely lynched by
I tell you what, this speed mod though is interesting. I think the speed mod on Chucky Egg is basically twiddling whatever a Chucky Egg twiddles that increases your speed normally when you go up through the levels. Oh, so Ches says his neighbour had a TI-99 that was a fun machine. Balls died. Well, TI though back in the day made all of the speak and spells, all of those things, didn't they?
Well, they did the really sought after scientific calculators as well, which people used to do software hacks with, didn't they?
They still do. I think I've got a TI Voyage 200 or something, which is based on the 98 series.
It's very cool.
They've got a really cool one that you'd like, which had interface on it, so you could run oscilloscopy type stuff, or at least data loggers and things for schools.
Oh yeah.
But I've not seen them second-hand. I don't know where you get hold of them.
I always look out for those calculators when I'm in the second-hand shops. The thing is, around me, this stuff you find in second-hand shops is now just vaping hardware and those silly iPod docks and a PA speaker that the cone flashes. And There's just nothing to look at in them. So any of my hopes to buy one of those calculators are just completely pointless.
You've reminded me of something I saw today, right? Which is going to be controversial subject, I know, but we're going to do it. In our town, there was an old Motor Factors, which was a great one if you needed an oil filter or something for your car. They had all the obscure stuff.
Yeah.
That's closed down now. And in its place, in this twee Oxfordshire town, is a vape shop. And I'm like, they are like the scourge of society. It's like the modern version of an opium den, isn't it?
Yeah. Because, I mean, when I walk around my local town, it fits in. But it's like...
You've got multiple.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a vaping bar in our town, which just looks weird. It's like there's a little barber thing which has a few of these vape, like the great big tanks, which are like you could power a train off of them. And then there's just like a load of really horrible bits of like garden furniture on the main floor where you can just borrow one of their vaping machines, presumably, and samples. It just looks horrible.
So they're trying to be like a modern shisha bar type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but bizarre.
The thing about it that's super bizarre is that it's like a totally concocted chemical mess, isn't it? There's no like history to it. It's like it's like something out of Blade Runner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Judge Dredd.
Yeah, the whole idea behind it is just strange to me. Because my brother at one point started vaping and he didn't even smoke beforehand. And I thought, what the hell is that all about?
I sometimes see, when I'm at work, people who go outside to vape and it's like a massive cloud. They're sucking on their douche flute. And like you walk past and you're engulfed in a big cloud of their vape spunk. And you're like... It's just not fucking on. There's something weird about that, isn't there? It's not on.
I find it very weird.
So, are you? Is there any vapors in the chat?
Yeah.
Are you taking offence? Because I'd like to hear your side of it. But like, I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I'm not sure what. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like I've got to go outside and just they're huffing on it. It's like huge, like that. And it's got like 20 of those big lithium batteries you get, like this, out of a Dyson Hoover. It's giving them like 20 amps of vape. It's like, why do you need that? Just go and have a coffee like a normal person.
But it's like what Mensky says. It's the whole thing about making a huge cloud. It's like a challenge thing. If you go on YouTube, there are content creators where it's just, we can do all these tricks, so we can make funny shapes, or we exhale the steam. It's just bizarre to me.
So Mensky, so you're calling it rip fat clouds. You've got to rip fat clouds. It's like, why don't I just come up to you? It's just weird. You wouldn't go up to somebody and start firing your jizz in their fucking lungs, would you? But that's what you're doing with your vape.
Well, some people definitely would do.
Yeah, but I mean, otherwise, normal people.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're not just going to randomly do it, no. But...
Some people would want to do that. On Craigslist.
Yeah.
Let me vape on you. I want to vape on your naked lungs. Oh my god. No! Dying again. Chucky, why are you doing this to me? We need to get to level 35. Come on. Oh, so Floating Fat Man wants to go for the eat some beans and set fire to the fart. Now, I want to know, though, are farts really flammable?
I've never tried to set fire to one.
Because you want a really good one if you're going to try. Because I think, you know, like if you try to light your barbecue and the gas is not quite right, the mixture, the air-fuel ratio is wrong, it won't light.
Yeah, and if there's not enough force behind it, it's just going to stay and burn you.
You need a jet, basically. You might be able to 3D print something. A nozzle.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Mythbusters prove it. How did they prove it, though? Did they actually collect their farts in a jar and light it, or did they make a farting gas out of the materials using science? I think Mythbusters would have done the practical, though. You know, weird thing about Mythbusters, Craig, I don't know if it was a bit of a turn off for you. The bit where they just started doing loads of stuff with guns.
Yeah, we used to, when I worked at Sony Centre, we had Mythbusters on a lot because it was there wasn't many HD channels around, obviously, to sell tellies. You know, you're going to use the content that looks good.
Yeah.
And I found that stuff a little bit boring. Like when they were trying to recreate something that happened in a film, it was cool. You know, once it was all like gun-based stuff, I wasn't offended by it. I just wasn't really that interested in it. I'll be completely honest.
So they collected it in a jar. I reckon. I think you need some sort of one-way valve if you're collecting it in a jar as well, though. Something you could break out of an airbed.
Yeah.
Okay, we're nearly at 35. We're getting there. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be amazing.
They'll probably just go.
Well done.
Yeah,
I
back
think
to level 1.
As I've noticed, there is one way of dying which is interesting in this, where you fall off a ledge, just fall straight down. Not that you've got much control over this when you do die, but that one's particularly annoying, where you just literally walk off a ledge.
Yep.
So, Craig, will you will you agree with me or not that the Super Nintendo probably had the best sound, or at least music, out of any of the 16-bit consoles?
I'm biased because the SNES is my favourite 16-bit console anyway. It was what I grew up with. but I actually I think it did. But then the thing is, I don't know if it's because the hardware's superior. Because the thing is, there's a lot of people that are quite talented that got the best out of the Genesis games, Mega Drive games as well. So they can sometimes sound as good.
Like Contra Hardcore is just insane. But I feel like if you play like Super Castlevania, it's just iconic.
Yeah.
What people could get out of that, and I think that's the Sony audio system in it, wasn't it? It's effectively the Sony synth chip, and it was doing a bloody good job.
Yeah, I'm trying. I can't remember whether it was a Sony chip or not. I'm just looking it up.
I'm almost certain it was, because I think that was like the collaboration a bit with Nintendo and Sony, and the whole PlayStation thing was the genesis of that.
It was designed and produced by Sony, yeah. 64k of SRAM.
Sony sound chip is a PCM powerhouse.
Yeah.
What does PCM stand for then?
Pulse code modulation.
Ah.
There was another piece of audio hardware for one of the Sega consoles. I can't remember if it was the Master System or the Mega Drive, but that was like an FM module which sat between the cups, if I remember correctly, because Classic Gaming Quarterly went on about it.
It's because in the foreign Master System hardware, they had an FM channel, the same as the NES, which sounds... To be honest with you, when you hear those games with ease or something, with FM music, they're amazing. They would have extended the life of those 8-bit consoles too far.
Definitely,
I think that's why they nobbled it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think it was really a cost issue.
Yeah.
Because if you hear even the NES, you know, you're playing, I don't know, Parodius or something with the FM music, you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to upgrade this.
Yeah.
I think MSX also had a card add-on to give you those extra channels that were already there. But yeah, I think you're right. It's like a power-based converter for the Mega Drive, but it just looks like a cartridge.
Yeah, and the one for the original Japanese hardware, it was a big ribbon connector which took up half of the console. It was like a big slab of white plastic called the FM sound unit.
The FM sound unit.
It was huge.
I was a Sega lad.
I was always into Nintendo.
I think we had a Master System first, and then we had the SNES and never looked back.
Yeah.
But I remember being blown away seeing like Strider on the Mega Drive and Shinobi, Streets of Rage. I'm not even sure Sonic was out at that point. I think Sonic came a bit later.
I'd like to get hold of the Mega SG. One of my friends just got one for Christmas, and he's saying that it's stunning.
What's the Mega SG?
It's the FPGA-based console that Analog have made. So they did the really expensive console that played NES games, which was like a metal case thing. Then they did the SNES version, and now they've done one for the Mega Drive.
So it's almost original hardware as you can get, basically.
Yeah, so it's got a cartridge slot in it, but obviously by now a jailbreak has been released, so you can run ROMs off of an SD card. But I just like the idea of the FPGA stuff. It's what I'd like to get hold of a Mister, but I haven't yet, just because of that whole laziness issue that we keep going back to.
Well, let's be realistic, right? If we looked at our cupboards of shame, right, we've got enough original hardware we don't play, and I will definitely not respect anything that's emulated in the same way even. So I'm even less likely to play them. Especially something I think like the Mister, if I'm not mistaken, looks like a high school project. It's loads of like PCBs and crap. You've got to add and add and add and add. Yeah.
If it was one piece of hardware you bought and then loaded your software onto, I'd buy one. But when I realised that like to get the USB sockets, you have to buy a hub, and I thought I'm not going to bother with this because it looks like a load of interchangeable Lego boxes.
Yeah,
which is good if it works well, but
it needs to be in a box, doesn't it? If it was in a box with you just plug it in and it works, that's fine.
Yeah.
But people go, but then it would cost loads of money. But to me, I know that you're like me on this, Craig. I would rather pay the money and save the time, just so that it works.
Yeah.
I don't want a project. I've got enough of them.
Exactly. Sometimes I like a project, but when it comes to listening to a CD or playing a game, I want to be able to turn the stuff on and just use it. And I can't stand it when I think, I'll play the Grand because I've got a Raspberry Pi with RetroPie on it, RetroArch, whatever it's called, and occasionally that needs configuring. And I'm like, I'm just not going to bother tonight then. I just cannot be honest.
I think I've got probably, bugger, I can't get that egg. I think I've got, if I look around the house, probably 4 or 5 Raspberry Pi arcade systems that I've made for fun, little cabinets, gadgets, using that. And every now and then, the Raspberry Pi will crap the bed, and it'll just lose. The SD card will get corrupt or something. You know what I mean? That drives me nuts. And then you have to find all your disk images and your games and reset retro. And it's like, no, I don't want that. I just don't want it. I can't be arsed with it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I bought things like the PlayStation Classic Mini, because although there are some like supposed issues with it, I can plug a USB 3 memory stick into it and run some different ISOs on it, and that seems to work quite reliably.
I'm going to show you something. Let me get it. Okay, so these, I think, are the best compromise.
I'm just waiting for the video to catch up.
Oh no, you can't see it. It's coming up magic coloured.
Oh, it is?
Oh my god, that's yellow. Yellow. Who would have thunk it? But I'll hold it on its end. You might be able to just see that.
Oh yeah, it's one of the all-in-one Neo Geo things.
Yeah, so that's one of those Neo Geo things, and it gives you, frankly, the best of both worlds because it load it up. It's got all your favourites on it. Yeah, it just absolutely works. It's like everything that I wish a RetroPie was. I wish you could set a RetroPie up and then make the SD card read only. That's probably what you need to do. I might look into that.
Yeah, because my friend Ed has a arcade cabinet with one of those 161 cartridges in it, and it is very.
That one doesn't work. That was from Simon Locke. You know Simon.
Yeah.
I can never pronounce his name if it's Ergen, and I think he actually gave me another one as well that does work, which is the lesser version. You know, the 120 whatever in one, but it's more than enough for me to just play on the MVS. But yeah, I like that. I wish. Well, in fact, I think they do a Pandora system. I think they do. I think they do one of those with a jammer connector on it. So I guess if you want to again, you don't have the box, right? Makes it lame.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of the projects that I've thought about, because we don't have space for a full-on arcade cabinet in our house. Ed was telling me about the consoleized version of like the Neo Geo arcade stuff and using a jammer converter. It's been years since I looked into it. I said it would be cool to have a wooden box that my Sony PVM can sit on top of, and then have a nice joystick sticking out the front of it. So it's all tabletop, but obviously it will have a nice CRT connected to it.
Yeah,
That would be very cool, but I still have never got around to even, starting to vaguely plan the box.
well, I've got a tabletop. I've got quite a few little arcadey things. I'll take some pictures and show you. One of them's the bar top style, which is quite good.
Yeah.
But let me just show you this though. There's something else that I'll show you. Let's see if I can make a big camera. No, 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 no. All these profiles of uselessness. So look, I'm big than that. Okay. Right. So, I'll tell you one thing if you're going to do it. You're going to ask yourself this question, right? How the hell are you going to put all of this stuff, right, neatly into a box with a screen that's going to be anyway manageable? I think it's tricky. It's going to end up being you. Look how big it is.
Yeah. I mean, it would work for my idea because the PVM I've got is a 20-inch screen. So if it was a little bit wider than the television, effectively, it would be okay. But for those really, really miniaturized things, yeah, that's way too. I think I've seen somebody who's managed to shoehorn that into a SNES box.
Really?
Yeah, but it looks a bit. It looks like if you pulled a game out of it too quickly, the top would just fall off.
What I don't know is if there's any MVS games that use memory backup. Oh, so Menski's got the Pandora Java boards. Do they have any battery backup features? I think most arcade titles are pretty transient, aren't they? You just turn them on, they do their thing, and you turn them off. I think there's a few dip settings you might want. So if the Pandora things kind of let you handle the dip settings at least and save those, I think you're all right. What I've seen, Mensky, don't get me wrong, you know Ian from Monster Joysticks, who actually gave me that, he has basically that setup. In fact, I think this one is semi-consoleized. I think it's got joystick ports on it. But he's done it where he's got like an acrylic case of that. But I guess what I'm saying is it's still very big. Considering the emulation for Neo Geo is pretty good now. I mean, you can get a lot of systems to emulate Neo Geo games if that's all you want to play. But I don't know how good the Pandora are on the Neo Geo emulation. I think I've definitely seen Metal Slug on those.
I do like Metal Slug. I played at the side when we were in Blackpool this year. They had a load of the candy cabs with Metal Slug on them, and I was there for hours playing that.
I tell you what, it's one of my favourite games. I think I like the later versions of it because it's basically the same game if I'm not mistaken, but they've just got the speed. You know, it doesn't slow down as much.
Yeah,
is it Metal?
I've got a Neo Geo CD, and the slowdown on Metal Slug on that sometimes is what makes me lose.
Really?
I'm still rubbish at it. Yeah, sometimes the slowdown is pretty brutal in that when you've got an explosion going on. But it's still cool.
I tell you what, we got fair dues to the Neo Geo. If you play those games like now, I was one of those people who've never heard of it as a kid. Or you heard of it as a kid in the mags, but you never seen one, right? You never knew what it really was. So I don't know. A few years ago, whenever it was, I was first, started emulating it, and I remember doing a stream, a retro time stream, and it was playing Blazing Star.
Right.
And it's absolutely bonkers how amazing the game is. It's just like the graphics, everything.
Yeah.
And
they are awesome.
The cartridges must have been hundreds of megabytes big as well. You know, they must have been.
That's why they're so expensive.
It's phenomenal, and they just went balls out with it.
Yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant.
Because I discovered it because of my friend Ed, he's the guy. When he had a clear out and stuff, I bought a Saturn and the Neo Geo CD off it. And he was saying to me, the whole point of it was you effectively had the innards of an arcade cabinet in your hi-fi stand. So it was why, like, if you knew somebody that had a Neo Geo in the 90s, they were going to be wealthy because each cartridge was just so much money.
So it's for somebody who's basically works in the city, something or another, got a nice pad, or
that's how it always sounded to me.
Or a couple with no kids, and they're just spending their money on toys instead of the millions of quid that kids cost you.
Yep. Yeah, you decided to either have a baby or buy a Neo Geo for your lounge.
I don't know if I made the right decision. I'll have to think about that. I don't know what my return on investment is on the kids.
I don't know if you ever get a return on children, to be honest.
There'll be some residual value on your Neo Geo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on in the chat. Crikey. So Castado's got a Mister, so that's why it's nice to slag off something that somebody you know's got. Bloody Mister.
If I had one, I know that I would really love it.
I think, okay, tell you what, I had an idea, right? This is what I kind of am half thinking of doing. I want to make my own setup, my own computery thing for playing my own retro games. I'm going to take a standard case that you can get, a retro case. I'm going to get one of these Amiga ones because Amiga have plastics and keyboards that you can buy now, aftermarket ones. And then I'm going to make a PCB that will let me put a Raspberry Pi probably in it, and any add-ons I want, like USB joysticks and various, whatever the limitations are on a Raspberry Pi that I want to get round, And because I want a normal like Atari ST type slab computer that just I can play on, like I'm playing Chucky Egg now, but play it on an HDMI telly, or if I want to do a bit of coding. So I think just for the want of a little board that lets you put in a Pi and then hooks up, gives you all the ports onto the outside of the case, maybe a few add-ons that you could maybe read from the real cartridges or something. I think that would be quite a nice project. I reckon.
That would be cool.
I don't know how much the board would be. It wouldn't be much because it's just an adapter board. But by the time you maybe added the case and the keyboard, you're probably looking at 100 quid, aren't you?
I'd assume as such, yeah.
But if you could do that for the Pi, maybe do it for the Pi, do it for the Mister as well. So it's just so they have somewhere to live.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't have to be Amiga flavoured. It's just that that's what exists today. But yeah, a retro comp would be fine by me. Could look like a Spectrum. It could look like something else. Whatever.
Because what's his name? 8-bit guy. They put a Raspberry Pi into an Apple II case, didn't they? About a year or so ago. They passed it around for a series of videos where they where like a bunch of YouTubers each added something to the mix. But I think it wasn't done. It wasn't done cleverly as such. It was just a bunch of loads of like adapters, just like sellotape to the bottom of the case,
Shoehorned in.
Yeah, I mean it would have worked, but they didn't like manufacture it because it was just a one-off project thing. There was no board created to make the adaptations look smart inside. It was just a bunch of wires like zip tied.
Yeah, sometimes
rubbish inside.
I get the same with remember Ben Heck?
Yeah.
He used to do some builds like that, and sometimes he goes back and revisits something he made before, and it's just awful. Dog's dinner, like all wires. Yeah, that stresses me out that way now. I have to sit down and design a board and do it right. I don't think I could handle that. But I do like the idea of doing that Amiga thing. I do like the idea of people talking about these cyber decks. From what are the books? I can't remember the name of the author. But I do like that idea of putting the Raspberry Pi in something. It could be even something 3D printable or custom. Because what I end up doing, I'll 3D print these basic Raspberry Pi cases that can go on the back of a monitor. And I use them for a while until they kind of fall off the desk or fall behind or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, I use them as little servers, but then I
Yeah.
just don't respect them because they're not in a real thing.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
You can't rack mount them. You can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's not like it's a real thing. But I've got a Raspberry Pi 3 and a 4, and I bought the Element 14 kits, which come with a proper power supply and a case and a memory card and a video lead. But there's no cooling with them, so my problem's always been that I've been enjoying using them. And then after 20 minutes of testing it, it will slow down because obviously you haven't got the heatsinks or whatever. And I bought a heatsink kit for the Pi 3, but it's not sufficient. It will still eventually get too hot and start to cook.
Oh, that's naff.
It's annoying because I just use them to play games with.
You know, I'd consider though, Craig. You're gonna like this. You know that I'm talking about getting a quad hi-fi setup.
Yeah.
Either original or clone.
Yeah.
How about something that just is in a nice box like that, same sort of extruded metal, but just lives with your hi-fi? So it's there, it's always on with everything else.
Yeah.
I think I'd respect that because it would have a home as well. Not just a box, but a place to live.
Yes. And it looks purposeful as well.
It looks purposeful. I could use, you could use it for streaming and stuff too.
Yeah. Well, it's like I've got a home theatre PC on our stand. And I used to do that just with a laptop that the battery died in. But because it was a laptop, I never used to leave it on all the time. There was no reason not to, because it never overheated. But then I'd think, oh, I'll play some music, like some FLAC files, and I'd turn the laptop on, and obviously there'd be updates to apply. Once I built so purposeful, like, for the job, and it was in a case where it just stayed on all the time, and the fans worked properly so it didn't overheat, I use it all of the time. It's like the main media server. But it's not actually any more capable than the laptop was. It's just because it's in a case and it looks like it's meant to be there, rather than just balancing on the top of an amp or whatever.
I've got somewhere a Bose system, and do you remember they made a system with basically it's got a hard disk in it.
Right.
So if you put your CDs in it, it's got a hard disk on it. And it would, it copies it to the hard disk built in. It's like a jukebox. And I don't know how it worked. I don't remember it having a network connection, but it would have all the track listings and stuff.
Yeah, it would have had, up to the point it was made, an up-to-date Gracenote database just on the memory. Because we had a bunch of stuff at Sony Centre, which, it was their GigaJuke stuff, which for the most part was rubbish. But if you put in CDs which were released before the hardware came out, I thought it was just CD text, but it wasn't. It was because the database was just in it. So it's very possible that it just had a similar thing.
So just to give you an example then, that thing, it's clunky, right? It works pretty well, but it's got... you want to do everything from the remote control because the user interface isn't much to write home about, but it is HDMI out, and it does have an AV switch in it, and it can switch all your video input. So it's pretty damn good. And I don't know if you know this, anybody in the stream chat, and don't worry guys, I am reading it, is that the Bose remote control is bloody amazing.
There are, aren't they?
If you just go on eBay and buy a Bose, like the newest version of Bose remote control, it just controls everything.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have a Bose system for it to be useful. It's bonkers. It even controls a Skybox and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, where I was going with that story, it was that, that Bose thing is a bit crap by most modern standards in terms of the features. You could argue. It does what it does really well. Yeah, and that's why it earns pride of place in a lounge somewhere. Just because.
Which is what the audio files, which I am one, but the conventional audio files miss the point. When you're saying like, oh, this Bose thing's good, like, yeah, but you can spend £300 and it will sound better. You're like, yeah, but to live with, if you've got to turn on 5 or 6 components which run off valves, they probably do sound a bit better. But if you can just sit in your chair and press 1 or 2 buttons on this Bose thing, and play the exact CD in one hit, that's gonna be a more pleasurable experience than having to clean the records off and all the other stuff, which I do from time to time. For the most part, I use my mobile phone with Spotify through the amps.
I agree totally. And it's funny. I'm going to say something about Bose. It might be unpopular, right? I like the headphones. The headphones are unbelievable. I use them all the time on travel. Cannot get better headphones. Hi-fi, it's not really hi-fi. I find it very tiring to listen to Bose for any length of time. But for what it's used for, which is a bit of music, streaming off the telly every now and then, really good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could suffer listening to any sort of length of time on it for more than an hour or two. But
that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people like we've got the Bose wave radios in our bedroom, and I like those because it's not a very. If you were to measure it, it would be appalling. But I like the sound because it sounds warm. So listening to like radio in the morning when you're waking up is quite nice.
But you know what, Bose? Yeah, I mean, Bose are like the opposite of hi-fi in that they are masters of manipulating the sound to try to get the most out of the probably relatively cheap hardware they're making.
Yeah, it's like using a tiny little cone speaker with like a massive plastic tunnel behind it to give it some bass response.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. The problem I have with it is that it's so expensive, brand new. Like, I've got quite a lot of Bose gear. I've even got some of their PA stuff, but I bought it second hand when it's worth nothing. And I actually like how it performs. It's just, as a porker, I can't ignore how much it costs when it's new. But I like all of it.
It's like B&O stuff, isn't it? It's very pretty. It's a bit quirky. It's nice to have in your house because you can show off to your guests. But I don't know. I wouldn't never buy it new. Never.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, the PA stuff I've got, I bought it because I was going to hire some stuff to do music at my brother's engagement party. But because I'm a nerd and I'm into audio gear, I thought, well, I could buy some old stuff that I've always fancied playing with when we used to go on holiday to places and they had those stuff hanging on the walls. So then afterwards I can just sell it because it all holds its value quite well because it's sought after.
Ross. Yeah.
And it gave me something to mess around with, like improving the cabinet condition and stuff. So hopefully it will be worth a little bit more when I come to sell it.
I was looking at the obscene prices though that people charge for inverted commas real hi-fi. If you have this set of, I can't remember what it was, a set of electrostatic speakers was 50 grand alone.
Yeah.
Plus the Lynn Sondek record player, that's another 15 grand. And God knows how much your amp would be on that. It's just, who's listening to that?
Yeah, a lot of people claim they are. I mean, the stuff I've got in my lounge is really, really nice stuff, but it's all Japanese stuff from the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. So that was what the hi-fi press didn't like at the time. But it all performs well enough, and obviously because it's old, it's cheap because like it needed servicing or repairing or whatever. But I've listened to some stuff that's tens of thousands of pounds worth, and it doesn't really sound like it's worth that much. Well, it is better sometimes if you like the sound of it. But I could never justify spending £10,000 over £1,000 on a box. I mean, I wouldn't even spend £1,000 on a single component ever. I just can't justify that.
I think when you listen to something, you know what would be my benchmark though, right? Get a half decent set of headphones.
Yeah.
Any setup that can bring you even 60% of what you can get out of headphones is probably good.
Yeah.
You know, if you can hear the tiniest, the breath of the flautist inhaling, and then the sound of the bloody drum going boom, you know, that's probably what you're aiming for. And I've just marvelled when I've just compared the two. You know, listen to it on one, then switch the output to the speakers, and switch it and go, wow, it's.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that people forget about is you have to be aware of when you're buying audio equipment what you like the sound of, because I've known people that have had like a 300 quid shelf system and they've listened to music all the time and they've spent a lot of money based on what some magazine has told them to buy, and they're not using it because I find it really fatiguing, so I only listen to it occasionally. And it's like, well, is it because you just don't like the sound of it? Which just seems pointless to me. I'd rather, because I have had really high-end stuff, I mean, I've got rid of it a few months later, because I thought I actually got more enjoyment out of the cheaper stuff. I don't know. Everyone's got a preferred route to take, haven't they, I guess?
I think this could be the year of the hi-fi. I might be doing the building something. Maybe I might find that quad as a kit, put that together.
Yeah.
I'm also really interested in putting that quad 44
Yeah.
card in. So that's the design. So everybody in the stream, I was talking to Craig about this. Some of the quad HIFI gear have the preamplifiers have cards in them that are a little bit like ISA cards back in the day. For they've got the circuitry for whatever the preamplifier is amplifying based on what you want. So if you had a particular record deck or tape player, it would have different gains. So.
Yeah.
As most people aren't using record players and stuff anymore, but they would like to use them for streaming, the idea is that I will make a card so that when you switch to, say, record player, or whichever way you've inserted the card on, it will then allow you to have Bluetooth on your system and also provide a TOS link, because
I was going to say that add like a digital input and just put like one of those small like DAC kits in it as well.
Yeah, maybe it'll be TOS both ways too. You know, output and input, just in case you want to run it with a different amp. And I think that's really nice. I think you know what? They could make a killing if they bring back modular, as in not just modular hi-fi, but literally modular, as in configurable with modules. Yeah. They should make a new standard for it, shouldn't they? And you could just... I know a lot of people go, yeah, but you can just buy a chip that does it all, but I think we like to...
there'd be a market for it.
Yeah, I think so. So Winsome Hap's got an Echo Dot. Do you think the Echo Dot sound is good? I mean, I'm guessing it's no worse than the radio in the corner.
It's okay. I mean, what I like about these smart speakers is they all use DSP. So although the speaker's really small, they're using like some EQ curve so that you're getting the best out of the driver. So obviously, compared with my great big Yamaha speakers in the lounge, my Google Home Assistants sound bloody rubbish. But on their own, they sound quite good. Like I've got the Google Home Assistant in the bedroom, which looks a bit like a lamp. I can't remember what specific model it is, but I could listen to the radio on that all day. It's got enough bass and treble that it sounds all right.
Yeah.
And the mini versions sound like you can turn them up really loud and they'll be clean. They have no bass. They're not going to. It's physically too small, but they sound all right. There's not much wrong with them. And the Amazon stuff, you can now pair two of them together and buy a subwoofer box for about 180 quid. So you're getting like a 2.1 system. Because each speaker is active as its own amp and that, they probably would sound really good together. I'm not going to buy it all to try it because I don't need to. But I thought that was quite interesting when I saw that.
That sounds... Yeah, it'd be nice to compare that, wouldn't it? I mean, that's the thing though, isn't it? All of these things in isolation sound fine till you listen to something better. And then you go, bloody hell.
And the thing is, after like 2 weeks, like I've got my really high-end stuff from the 70s or whatever. When I go down to this little Philips Fidelio iPod dock, it's about the same sort of size as a B&W Zeppelin. When I've listened to that for a couple of days, I've pretty much forgotten what the stuff in the lounge sounds like, and I'm just enjoying it because it's good enough.
Yeah.
Side by side, it's going to be a bit, rubbish compared with the stereo.
I think though it's important to have the contrast, right? So that's why it annoys me when I hear, I don't know, someone saying about their AirPods being so good, and you're like, it's probably shit, and no better. Yeah. And I think that kind of sums up a whole generation, actually, of people who think they know better and have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when people say, like, oh, these speakers or these headphones are better. It's more, what I try and say to people is, I much prefer this thing that I've found, rather than saying it's better, because it might not, like, in the case of the Bose stuff, technically it's not going to be superior, but if you prefer the sound of it, then that's good, especially if you find it cheap, because you save a bunch of money.
Or it's the packaging. I prefer the packaging. I listen to Sony wireless pod things, right? Yeah. They're way worse than my Sony Bluetooth headphones, but they work when I go running and they're waterproof.
Yes.
So for that use, brilliant. And it's I have so many. I've probably got 5 pairs of headphones, and it's like bags, laptop bags. I've got loads of laptop bags and travel bags because I use a different one for depending on the scenario.
Yeah.
And I think that people need to get out and stop. Don't necessarily just keep buying one brand. Just explore the market a little bit. At least,
Yeah, there's no one perfect solution for anything.
yeah. Maybe go to a Curry's while they still exist, where you can actually try something out.
Yeah. Oh, won't people miss curries once that eventually dies?
I think we're going to have a very weird society where we just buy everything online and we're completely controlled by, influenced by what we see on tweets. It's going to be craziness.
Yeah.
It's all marketing. I mean, it is all marketing anyway, but even more so. There'll be no objective analysis of any product.
No. Exactly.
I tell you what, we're clocking up some scores here on Chucky Egg now. Level 71. I kind of feel I need to get to at least 100 now.
But I need to go because I just received a text message with a shopping list in it from my wife.
Well, that's absolutely fine. Some of us have real lives, Craig. Thanks for reminding us of that.
Thank you for letting me spoil your stream with HIFI stuff. I'll speak to you soon, mate. All right.
No problem, no problem. And if anybody wants to chat on the stream, you can just do so via Discord. Links down below. Or I might just start reading a few of the old stream chat. Tony Foster says AirPods. Pah. The amount of AirPods you find just lying around, it's like a license to print money from Apple, isn't it? Anything that relies on your ear skin to keep it in is probably going to get lost at some point. I did see somebody made some AirPod stickers which look hilarious, where you just... I don't think they're not stickers necessarily, they might be just cards, but they look like an AirPod that's fallen on the floor, and you can just leave them lying on the floor on the train. My brother found a whole iPod once. He gave that to me. It was really scraped up, where it had been kicked around a tube station, obviously, for a while. But that thing worked. The hard disk, everything was fine on it. I love those old iPod videos. Believe it or not, I used to use one of those till quite recently. Just because it worked really well and it didn't use the battery on my BlackBerry or whatever I was using for travel. No. Try again. Yes. Loving the Chucky. So Echo Dot then, is that the one though that listens to you all the time? I hear a lot of... I hear that's the primary difference between Google's one and the Amazon one, that although they're both listening all the time, the Amazon one's sending the data back to their servers, something like that, whereas the Google one's listening for the OK Google. Yeah, Daytona, but it's whether or not they send that data back to their servers. Hey Jenny, how are you? You can get your fix of Chucky, Jenny. I know that you're not allowed. You are forbidden for having this retro hardware in the home, if I'm not mistaken. Win some hacks. I know someone in the whole IT security arena, and they disagree with what you just said when it comes to Alexa. Yeah. I don't know. You might want to check it out. If you just run Wireshark on your network, just have an eye. Just make sure that thing isn't spitting some packets continuously, and see when you start talking if it starts upping that rate. There could be a thing where they're trying to do offshoring the AI. So yeah, it might only react when you say Alexa, but is it processing the Alexa keyword on their server or not? Oh right, so yeah, Semensky isn't. What was that thing that was in the news recently as well, where they were just... Was it a hack? There was a hack where someone hacked them and they just released all of this data that Amazon was collecting on people, like all of these, conversations and stuff. I mean, it's pretty creepy. You wouldn't want, I don't know, a murderer listening to you over at Amazon headquarters, and they go, yeah, and then they come and get you. That's not right. Come on now, let's go. tell you what, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. But it's just I love Chucky Egg, the dynamic. It's just so addictive. Did you know there's a company called VTech that makes kiddie computers? I think even my kids had a few of these things, and they had several inverted commas smart devices, which are pretty much just tablets of Wi-Fi and stuff, and all the data was really hackable. It was just like totally hackable. Like they were just saying, you know, this is like pedo heaven, and that just goes to show how little care those companies have for your data, and in that case your kids' data. That's why I don't trust any of them. They're big enough that you're never going to sue them, and they really don't care. They just want to make money first. Yeah, so Ches, what you're talking about there, that thing with the laser and the MEMS, right, that was insane. But do you know it's even more insane? You can just shout through somebody's letterbox. I've done this. You can shout through somebody's letterbox, okay Google, open the door. Yeah, and if they haven't got it configured to just listen to your voice or whatever, it'll just open their garage. Especially when they're using if this then that with some aftermarket mains controllers and things. So you don't even need the laser, you just need to get your sound in. You could just probably do it by just putting a little megaphone through the bloody front door, or just talking loudly. Just try it. If you've got one, see how far you have to be away from it to react. And if you can put your head near or through a cat flap, boom, and then see if you can just break into your own house. I bet everybody here in this stream knows how to break into your own house. If you had to get into your own house, how you would do it. It's really scary, because if you're a burglar where you don't really care about breaking anything, it's even easier for them. They really don't care. And in the olden days, you used to have an alarm that would go off, which may or may not work. But now you've got a Wi-Fi alarm, which isn't alerted to a call centre. Takes like a few seconds, like a minute or two, to let you know that somebody's at your front door. They're in and out. Oh, just Ches, he did the shouting as well. Yeah. Oh no! Did I miss the Royal Society Christmas lecture? Bum. What was it on? I'd love to know. I think there might be some repeats on... What are they on now? Is it BBC or Channel 4 or something? I can never remember. I think it's BBC. It'll be on the iPlayer. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save the state here. I might just... I'm just going to continually play this Chucky Egg game forever and ever and ever and ever whenever I play Chucky Egg. Turns out the Ring doorbells and cameras. Yeah, I heard that, alright. The Ring system was even more hackable than most, wasn't it? Just don't trust these things, guys. I tell you what, I'm going to say, I design the firmware and hardware and software. I don't think that makes me the inventor of a wireless GSM doorbell that pretty much did Ring functionality, 10 years ago. I would say security on the device is the only way to go. Yeah, so don't rely on any networked third-party cloud security on those. Like, if you want to get in your door and it's got a doorbell, if it's got a local PIN number, like my front door as an electric PIN number machine, I would trust that every time. And not only that, if it's a proper one where it's split, where even if you pulled off the outdoor part and tried to sort of short the wires together, that it's not going to open because the intelligence is contained elsewhere. I think that's better too. I think those door locks, I've seen them where you have these door locks in America, which rotate and stuff. I've seen them mainly in the US. There's a lot of them in the US if you go to the hardware stores. I think they've got all of the intelligence in the lock, and I've seen, I think, lockpicking lawyer just destroy those. You can just open them up from outside. You know, you open up where the battery goes in, and you can just pull that out. So there's a footage of a Ring internal camera somebody had in their child's room getting hacked, and the hacker talking to the kid. That's scary, isn't it? That sounds very, very creepy for anybody who's got kids. Come on now. Let's do this. Yeah, do you remember a while back we did... Well, Mensky, I'd say use a smart lock, but one you know how it works. I've actually got some smart locks here that I've designed, right? And they work from... They work from an RF key fob, you know, rolling code key fob, and networked from my internal network on my house. So, to be honest with you, you need a reasonably high level of hack already to get there. But the difference is they're configured exactly how I want, and they're not some off-the-shelf thing that's got its security wound down to nothing because it's designed to reduce support calls from numpties trying to set it up when they buy them for Christmas for their gran. I think that's the problem, isn't it? When you have to dumbify security, well, because you know things are complicated. You know, I have to occasionally read the manual. But yeah, off-the-shelf stuff. It's just that it has to work, and it costs a lot of the money to do tech support for people. Can you imagine all the tech support people going, I'm trying to set up the Wi-Fi code, WEP keys. And I'll tell you something funny. From working in embedded electronics, so you know these chipsets, you've got these chipsets that provide Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Linux, right, and all those system on chips. Half those bloody things barely work. The amount of software hacks you have to do in the firmware just to get them to play nicely, to get around hardware errors, you know, inbuilt microcode bugs. It's a nightmare. It could be a bug in the system that the manufacturer's got. They've manufactured a bug in by mistake, and now you've got to live with it. And that's why those things, you know, and your WPA doesn't pair or something. And it just creates all of those tech support issues. And as Intel have found out, all of those weird memory leak, heartbleed, hacks and stuff. Oh my god. Let's simplify. Let's dumb it down. Back to keys. Tony, I like it. Yeah, you might as well. You might as well. You know why? You know why, Tony? I really just thought about it. Think of the people who are installing these, right? I'm going to say numpties, and it's unfair, but I'm going to say numpties because we're all technically oriented here, right? And they just assume that because it was difficult for them to set up, that it's difficult for somebody else to hack. So, I mean, isn't that right? Think about it. We do that, don't we? If you know somebody who doesn't have know how to put a hard disk in their machine, they pay loads of money to people to do that. They'll go to PC World and give them like 150 quid to install a hard disk, right? And then they'll just assume that now that's a complicated thing because they couldn't do it. So yeah, I've installed my own fancy door lock, and it was a bit of effort because I had to go online and set up the WEP key. That means no one's going to be able to hack it. Boom. Jenny, 1970s. I think we should wind back everything to 1970s technology. That'll work. Win some hacks. I think... Okay, you know, I think sometimes I can see where it's convenient, right? You're stuck abroad, your cat's in the house, and you need someone to feed them, but they don't have the key. But how I would do it, I would have one of those key safes somewhere, perhaps hidden on my property, under a rock or in some nebulous place that's hard to extract, and I would SMS them the code, like the code to my key safe is 1234, it's under this plant pot in the bushes. I think that's a lot more difficult to get into than a hacker. Because think of what a hacker's doing, right? You're probably getting a hacking crew over in Eastern Europe or China or somewhere, They're going to hack all of the Ring door locks, figure out what the keys are, and then figure out what the addresses are, and then sell those to other people all over the world, you know, on Tor for Bitcoin. So burglars are probably buying up lists of locks and associated codes, aren't they? And that's not going to exist in my physical SMSing you the code. There's no way someone in China is going to be bothered trying to monitor all my text messages for me to occasionally text you a PIN number to get into a wallbox. Yeah, Costado, lock-picking lawyer is fantastic, but yeah, I think you've got to go for the good locks too. I've got a pretty reasonable lock, I think, on my property. But I haven't seen lock-picking lawyer try to pick one yet. I might Google. But yeah, if you're going for basic, simple Yale lock with few no features, yeah, you could be in trouble. Okay, I'm going to set myself a target because I know we've all got stuff to do. 100 levels. And actually, at this point, I don't think the game is going any faster, is it? Oh, that was good. This is like practicing for a speed run. I wonder if you could program an AI to learn Chucky Egg. Oh, that's how you lose your speed run. Come on now. Boom. Winsome hacks, I think you got it right there. You want to have just the right amount of security. I don't think any of us have too many precious items anymore. There's no irreplaceable family heirlooms, certainly not in my house. Everything's digital and cheap, even tellies and everything, right? But at the same time, you don't want people coming in when you're in the house, right? You don't want your family to be harmed. You don't want people to come in when you're asleep. So I think there'd always be that playing in the back of my mind. That is my front door really secure. So I'd probably still like to have a night latch if I can, you know. Maybe have that Yale lock for convenience, the automatic one. But when you're in the house with your family, a nice big deadbolt will make you sleep better at night. Burglars getting into your house when you're not there, don't know, fair pickings, I guess. Don't know. Take your chances on your Ring burglar alarm system at that point. I'd be more scared as well if I was in the US, though. There's a lot of... It's scary over there where you've got guns in play. I know a lot of people say they're not affected by them, but I've spent enough time in the US myself to be a bit unnerved by it. So yeah, I'd be really fearful for the nighttime security of my family. Your games collections? Priceless, Costado. Priceless. I wonder if anybody actually has had someone break into their house to steal their, you know, Atari ST or something. I mean, that would be upsetting, wouldn't it? Nice, that was a good jump there. Very pleased with that jump. Oh, I kind of would like to work out the optimum pattern for that, but... Oh, that's terrible. Crocodile-filled moat. Imagine security, though, you know, in the olden days. Locks must have been really easy to pick. They probably wouldn't have had anything. So Jenny, that's a good idea. So how would he... Do the paramedics, like the local first responders, know the codes to the lock? Do you register the lockbox with them? Is it a bit like the defibrillator machines, because they have a some sort of PIN number that's locally shared among emergency services. Ah, there we go. Almost at 100. Oh my gosh, this feels so fast, this level. I don't know why. I think it's because there's maybe less going on. Always the speed on this one's fast. Oh, if you time that right, where you can... Oh, that's beautiful. That speedrun material right there. You can see that they've designed these levels, look at that, to be kind of doable, but I don't know if you could ever win this one. Let's see if there's an angle. Oh, well, that kind of helps, I guess. Otherwise you fall right to the bottom. That's it. Yeah, Mensky, it's the data, and I was thinking about this. We entrust all of our data to Google, and I hear sometimes where people have come a cropper by breaking Google's terms and services in some unrelated service and having their Google account terminated, which effectively terminates their entire life. They lose their photos, they've lost their calendar, they lose their contacts, they lose everything. So there's a very hidden danger there. I would like an alternative backup as well for that. Interestingly enough, just to let people know, I do have, if you go to LBRY, which is a kind of library, but spelt in a kind of Tinder grinder modern app way, LBRY. Hey, Nassim. I've got my YouTube channel synced there now. Because by YouTube's rules, I feel I'm not getting... I'm confusing their algorithm, to be honest. It doesn't know what I'm about, gaming or not gaming. So I thought I might set up a library account to back up and archive every single YouTube video, which it's kind of done. It's about 500 videos shallow, so I need to see why it didn't back up those 500. But what I might do then is to use that and remove content. And you're saying, well, if you're going to remove content at YouTube and entrust it to library, how are you gaining out of this? Well, library is a decentralized service, so it's kind of a bit more open source, as it were, or open on how they're storing that video data. So I kind of think it's a good alternative to keeping everything with Google and YouTube. But if you are using library, check it out. Give me a follow. Oh, nice. That was nice. That was nice. That went well. Need to get across the other side. We're level 100, by the way. Look, this is it. Try to run. Try to hide. Ready? Steady? Steady? Do it! Boom! Yeah, decentralized is the word for the 2020. Decentralized cloud technologies. Let me see if I can get my library link for you, because there's a referrer, and if you use it. So Becky, I'm just going to comment. Can I remove that one? No, I'm going to leave your one. But yeah, Becky's posted the link. But if you use the link I have, or as a referrer, you might get some tokens, or I might get some tokens. The weird thing is with library, basically, so if you, I'll tell you about it now, Mensky and everybody. If you sign up with it, there's a thing where you can just authorize it to access your YouTube channel, and it will download everything. It will create your library channel from your YouTube, so it'll take all the channel art, the videos, the metadata, all the content automatically, and keep it synced. Now, if you delete something from your YouTube channel, apparently it stays on in your library, so it's good to act as an archive. So if you've got like a bunch of videos like I have, I think I've got 1,500 videos, right? And there's maybe 30% of those are not really watched. I can instantly delete those 30% and then clean up my channel on YouTube. So that's what I'm going to do. There's an app. There's a web, like a Windows player, I think, and a web one. So it's all there. But not only that, as a YouTuber, you'll get credits just for having content on library, because they're trying to get content. That's how they work with their money. They've got money that you can exchange to Bitcoin or real money. So by watching things, providing content, it's like Patreon, YouTube, and everything all rolled into one. But the main difference is, the main bloody difference, and why it's important, is that when I go on YouTube, I rarely get to see the people I've subbed to. I don't know why. I have to go looking for it. Yeah. So let's say Costado posted something, and I'm a fan of Costado. I sub to him. Before on YouTube, it used to show you like all of the stuff that you liked from all your buddies or whoever you're sub to, right? It just doesn't do that anymore. It just shows me random stuff that it thinks I want. It like clickbaits me, yeah? And I have to go to a certain section to watch my subs, and I hate that. Whereas library's the other way. It's a bit like Reddit. You have like a kind of a subreddit, or it's like kind of Twitter. If you type @backoffice show in library, it'll show you my stuff. It's like it's a way of sharing it like that. Yeah, there you go, Becky. But if you use the API one, the link above, I think it's a referral link as well. I think it does something. Like if you're a content creator, use the referral link. But it's interesting. So I don't know. It might be the good opportunity if you've got a YouTube channel as well to get on the ground floor while one of these are flourishing. Because I know, speaking to Kamots and other people, a lot of YouTubers are flocking to library for that reason, because it's one, it's a backup from YouTube, but two, it's easier for people to see their content. So if you're like me, where I only rely on a certain amount of ad revenue for YouTube, it's not a massive amount, but I actually rely probably more on Patreon. It doesn't matter how you're watching it, does it? You can watch it on YouTube or watch it on library, because your patronage is coming through a different mechanism. So yeah, I don't know, Costado. I think it works really good. I was looking at it on my phone earlier. The downside is when they synchronize, I think from YouTube only lets you download video in 720p. So if you want high res stuff in library, you can put it into, you'd have to upload it to there. But something someone told me, which is really cool about it, I think you can upload a new version over your old version. So it's a bit like Vivo. If you remember Vivo, you could update your video, reversion it. Because sometimes you post a video, it might have like a few thousand views, but maybe you had promoted some kind of NordVPN or something similar, but one of the ones that was owned by a Chinese state government, and you don't really want them in your video anymore to promote them. You can go back and cut that out and then upload the video. I agree. I think that Google is being really. I'm gonna be honest. I feel that full-time YouTubers, I would be freaked out by Google, because YouTube to me feels like this nefarious employer that you don't have a contract with and you don't know the rules, and they're changing things all the time. And I'm not going to complain. YouTube's been pretty good to me, and I'm doing pretty well right now with YouTube, so thanks YouTube. But YouTube, you have to clarify your position with these content creators, because if my livelihood was YouTube, it would freak me out that one day I could be making money and the next day there's nothing. And also, I don't know, you have to do really, really well on YouTube to make it even pay for a real job. So it would really, those people would be much more comfortable knowing how you work. Maybe you need to address that. But yeah, so for the meantime though, yeah, library, I'm using that, and yeah, as you say, Veritasium, and there's lots of big YouTube channels are on there. I was thinking of moving to Skillshare, because I think I'm going to start maybe doing some actual educational series, and if I go to Skillshare, it makes me have to format it properly and do some proper editing. Costado, just imagine this system is just really being pushed out hard this holiday, so it's going to have some kinks in it. But you've got to beware, Costado. It's like peer-to-peer. So I don't exactly know how the mechanism works, so you might have to wait for it to somehow sync. They're using some sort of blockchain mechanism as well to verify everything. So it's all the tech. It's like basically all the current tech. What if you made a YouTube today, how you would make it. So anyway, guys, I think I probably ought to wrap it up, because my family will be coming home soon, so I've got to make the effort of maybe having a quick tidy up or something. But I tell you what, I was bored and lonely, and as ever, you haven't disappointed. I know I shouted out on the Discord and the Twitter, and I'm really glad you guys joined me with this stream. Hopefully you know, you're going to enjoy the next couple of days, and you maybe have time off work till Wednesday, so you can enjoy New Year's Day. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to go to work tomorrow now. Had enough of the old pies. I haven't had any Christmas pudding, believe it or not, so I'm going to be looking forward to maybe a last bit of Christmas pudding, and then I've got to really start working on this. Look at that. That's not good, right? Where did that come from? So we've got to get back into the old exercise and running, and see if I can shed the sort of 4 kilos, 5 kilos that I've put on over the last 2 months eating. Christmas starts early with me. So have a lovely new year, everybody. And I'm just going to go through the list again. Win some hacks: Costado, Becky, Daytona, Jenny Bailey, Mensky, Nassim, everyone else who's joined. Jonathan, if you're still with us. Tony Foster, Kevin. Who else? I'm trying to look for Unique New York. Ches74. And anybody else I've missed off. Yeah, have a wonderful new year if we don't speak before then. All the best. Bye-bye.